Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the Saberbs podcast. It's me, Marcus. I'm back here with Mischa. We're here to do part two of the football episode we did a few months ago. Now, we want to start this by basically saying we were supposed to record this like last week, but then our bodies decided to not work for us properly, and we ended up getting sick
Ooh.
for different reasons.
Nothing COVID, don't worry, but like other
Yeah,
things.
no, it's fine. We're fine.
We wanted to record this like right after the Champions League final, but then obviously we became sick. So now we are in the Euros. So
Yeah.
yay.
Yeah, so we're recording this a day after the Euros started. And we should start by prefacing that we both kind of saw on Twitter what happened to Christian Eriksen. We were both scared to luckily,
He's
it
alive.
came out pretty rapidly after that he was fine and stable, which is always good to hear. We hope that he's fine. We hope that he's going to be okay and he'll be able to play soon. But I think the most important thing, he's stable, he's alive, and he is, he's not in a worse position than he could be
Yeah.
at this moment in time.
Yes, agreed. So we send our
Yeah.
love to Christian Eriksen and to his family and to the football team as well. Send our
Yeah.
hearts.
Uh,
But let's continue as to where we are today. So today we're gonna basically recap the Premier League season and the Champions League season as it happened, as well as reflecting on our predictions to see how bad we did. Especially me. I don't want to. We have to talk about it. I say I don't want to talk about it. We have to talk about it. So here we are.
Yeah, you're gonna have to talk about it. All right, let's start with the first point. The Premier League. From the last time we recorded this video, which was during the international break until today, some things changed, some things didn't change. I think first and foremost, we just gotta say with the obvious, City won the league.
Yeah.
Ah,
I mean, no brainer. Honestly, at that point, like it would have
Yeah.
taken like either them like basically on a losing streak for the rest of the season for them not to win.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like anyone in the right, like even like I got this new jersey courtesy of Mischa, in a way. I got no, but even as like the biggest Man United fan, you probably could see like I don't know. You can't just be like, hey, United have a chance when they were already that far in.
Yeah, the margin wasn't. It was too far. The margin was too far.
Yeah.
So.
My
Oh well, I
count-
mean, it made sense. They did well. Pep won Manager of the Year, which I get. Even though I don't think he deserves Manager. Personally, I would give it to Thomas Tuchel, but then I understand why he can't get the award because he came in far too late in the season to technically win the award. But like, fine, I'll give it to Pep. I don't know. I have like a love-hate relationship with Pep Guardiola. Like, he is good, but like, there's some
yeah.
there's some cockiness with him, whatever, that I'm like, I feel like there's nothing exciting. Like, I feel like this win for City isn't exciting to me.
Yeah, like at some point it didn't feel like worth watching anymore.
Mm-hmm.
Well, okay, except for the moment where they started allowing fans back in.
Oh yeah,
I think
yeah.
that was like
They had,
Yeah.
which is a bit surprising. City has fans that they can bring in real life. That's my favorite joke. That there's no City fans. Like,
I mean, they can't fill their stadium. That's saying something. That
Yeah.
just-
all jokes aside, yeah. To be fair, like,
Yeah.
I feel like Man City has plateaued in a way of like, yes, winning a trophy is important and all that, but like, obviously their main ultimate goal is to win the Champions League, right? I feel like that's the business
which we will
plan.
get to.
That's the business plan, and that's also just like the football plan in general, right? So like, I
Yeah.
feel like they've won the Premier League enough times at this point that like it kind of feels like nothing. It's almost like how I dare say, like how like Bayern Munich won 9 in a row this year, which
Yeah.
it's sort of starting to feel like that for City,
Yeah.
which is boring.
It's kind of alternating like recently because it's like every other year it's City. Like
Yeah.
it was
or
like
if it's-
City and Leicester and then City, and then Chelsea, and then City, and then Liverpool, and then City. And it's just
Yeah.
like granted, okay, like you gotta admit, like a decade ago today, you may have not have thought that City was capable of winning the league, and now they're winning it every other
100%.
year.
Of course. Yeah, I don't know. And it's not like... See, this is where I have, like, the fight of how, like... You know how everyone says the Premier League is the best league in the world. It's the most exciting league. The most unexpected. I do see that. I do. But at the same time, with this, like, winning occurrence of City happening all the time, it disproves the point. And also disproves the point in which that whenever a big team goes against each other, it's usually like a 0-0 draw. And I'm like, well,
Yeah. I
if
think
you're supposed to be the most exciting league in the world, then two big teams should have like it should be like an interesting scoreline, not 0-0.
I think the unpredictability of it isn't the fact that it's we're talking about the top of the table, because more often than not it's like the same like 4 or 5 teams at the top of the table. I think the unpredictability is like what happens in the mid table.
Yeah.
Like I'm looking at the table now. It's like when we were in the international break, I think Newcastle was like one place above relegation, and they finished in 12th place. I couldn't have predicted that.
Yeah. Newcastle had like a great end of season run. Props to them.
Yeah.
Which was good because I know again they've been having business troubles, but like good on them for like, you know, making up for that.
Yeah. And then like Leeds were like 11th, and now they're 9th.
Yeah, well, I mean, like, I feel like Leeds is... It's like a kind of underdog story in a way. Everyone, like... I feel like everyone's second team this year was just Leeds. Everyone wanted Leeds to do well. Obviously, with a great coach such as Bielsa, there was expectation for them to do well, and they did. And I feel like in the coming years, there's definitely a lot of promise and hope for Leeds to do something really cool.
I hope in like... It's gonna sound like a reach. Maybe like after 2 seasons, they reach the Champions League. I feel like they could do it if they...
Okay, I say that's a little bit of reach because they haven't reached any European any European league yet. I feel like Europa League at least they could reach.
Yeah, I feel like that. What else can we talk about? I mean, like United, they kind of their results towards the end got a bit shaky, but it was still kind of fairly consistent. So I'm not disappointed in their end of season performance, but at the same time, I feel like they could have won some of those games that they lost. Like the Leicester game, they definitely could have won. I feel like they should have won.
I mean, United played as United does in terms of wishy-washy football. Case in point, the Europa League final. That he does not want to mention.
Yeah.
But
I think the best way we can talk about the Premier League is if we actually go straight to our predictions.
You should go.
So I'll say our top 5 predictions, because our relegation predictions were basically the same and they were fulfilled pretty accurately. I mean, that wasn't that hard, to be honest.
Yeah, with that much of low points, what else could we expect?
Yeah, but my predictions for the top 5 for the Premier League at the end were City, United, Leicester, West Ham, and Chelsea. Ooh. Yours were City, United, Leicester, Chelsea, and Liverpool. Now,
I mean, I technically kind of got the better half because I did put Liverpool in my top 5, and they finished third, I think.
They did. They finished third. They won their last 5 games of the season.
I don't know. That was like that's surprising.
Yeah, that was like something that shocked me so much. Like, apart from the top 2, I feel like that was kind of set in stone for me. The other 3 were like, I wanted to hope that I hope that Leicester would have been able to like keep their form. They kind of dropped off a bit.
I think they got tired towards the end of the season because like they won the FA Cup against Chelsea. Great. And then like they were going against Chelsea again like 4 days after in the Prem, and then they lost. And I feel like this season their main focus was to get a trophy, which they did, and then just to secure a European spot. Sadly, that wasn't a Champions League spot, but still Europe, I suppose.
Yeah. So Liverpool third.
Surprise!
I will
surprise!
openly
Fucking
admit that
surprised.
I was really not expecting them to be top 5. I was really expecting them to be 7th, which is taken by Tottenham.
Yeah.
I was really expecting that like they wouldn't be able to like reel it in towards the end just because of the injuries, and
Yeah.
I'm surprised that they did.
I'm surprised too. I had some sort of hope, as you could tell. I put them in 5th, that they would regain some sort of momentum, but not enough to like catapult them further up the table. But they did exactly that. And also just a mix of also the other teams performing poorly in supposedly easy games made it easier for Liverpool to sort of go up, back up the table and be third somehow. Magic, I tell you, magic.
Chelsea 4th. You got that correct.
Bang on.
You got that correct.
I mean, again, Lampard did his best, but was kind of shite. But again,
You have
Tuchel
Tuchel to thank for that.
Tuchel,
Yeah,
I'm
Tuchel to
telling you, Chelsea next year.
they're gonna be dangerous.
They're
I'm actually like.
Tuchel knows what he's doing. I believe.
I feel like the thing that Tuchel knows what to do that Lampard didn't was how to handle the players like Havertz, Timo Werner, Pulisic. Like
the new kids.
I feel like the reason why Chelsea was not really living up to the expectation at the start of the season was probably just because yes, Lampard was like a great player and that experience can translate onto the pitch, but there is a level of coaching that I don't think that he's at yet where you are able to handle personalities.
Yeah, agreed. I think
That's something like I'm gonna bring up like Sir Alex Ferguson. He was able to handle the personalities of like how many players for like how many years.
Yep. He had a lot of personalities.
Yeah, so I feel that that's a very important trait to have as a coach, where you're able to like understand them not just at a footballing level, but at a human, personal, like ego level. Essentially.
Yeah, and especially because like you could say being like, oh, he should have started out at like, because obviously a big club as Chelsea, you're expected to have big egos, and some people or some player to manager were able to do that at big clubs. But like I feel like just because Lampard as a person isn't that big egotistical like personality, he doesn't have that. He wasn't able to, connect to the players in that level or like understand them in that level. So that's why he struggled, because he himself as a player wasn't like that. So he can't like connect to the players and have that player connection at all. So
I mean, because like the players that he was surrounded by during his like peak days were like Anelka, Drogba, Juan Mata for a while. I'm talking about that's the years leading up to when they won the Champions League in 2012, which was against Bayern. I didn't follow that team religiously. I didn't follow football at that time religiously. I was like
Same
8 years
here.
old. And, but just reading about them in like these days, they didn't stand out to me as like ultra like extravagant Cristiano Ronaldo type.
They weren't like the
personalities.
United people out there people.
Yeah.
But yeah, no.
So,
but
yeah,
that's Lampard. But yeah, Chelsea has a good shot next year. Definitely has a good shot next year with Tuchel.
I feel like I don't want to make any predictions for the next season yet, but I feel like minus injuries, like if they were healthy whole season, I would be disappointed in Chelsea if they didn't make it top 3.
Yeah, 100%.
So on my prediction, I had West Ham as 4th,
Woo!
which they're 6th, which kind of I'm a little disappointed in my.
Close.
I mean, like top, like 3 until 6 is separated by like what, 4 points?
Yeah, it's very close. After the top two, everything else was super duper close.
I feel like top 5 could have been anyone.
Yeah,
So
honestly.
I'm not entirely disappointed, but yeah, it's like fair play to West Ham. Like they had the fact that they were during that time they had me thinking that they could finish fourth. That's something impressive on its
Yeah,
own because
no.
West Ham usually finishes like in the
Mid-table.
bottom
Like,
of the top 10 or like in the
yeah.
like the top of the mid table because you'll have like City, United, Liverpool, Chelsea, Leicester, Tottenham, Arsenal, and maybe Everton as like the top 9. But Arsenal are
Yeah.
now Arsenal,
Yeah, yeah,
and
yeah.
Tottenham is now Tottenham.
Yeah, West Ham, I feel like, is starting to finally gain some momentum and a resurgence and playing good football, which is great because I remember at one point, I think a couple seasons ago, they were like 16. Like, they were really close to relegation at one point, and they really had like a really bad down spell. And I'm really glad that they're finding
Yeah.
momentum again and really moving up the table and kind of taking over London with Chelsea, which is kind of exciting. Not
Yeah.
gonna lie.
The thing about West Ham is that just a few seasons before they were kind of falling out of place, they were like legitimate like people. They were kind of like the team that you you could beat, but you had to take them seriously
Yeah.
because that was the time when Dimitri Payet was still on the team.
Oh. Oh.
That guy. I remember a game where I think like he torched Man United, and one of the goals he scored was this free kick, and I wanted to be mad at him, but I couldn't because it was such a
It
good
was so
free
good.
kick.
Mm-hmm.
It was a perfect curve over the wall into the top corner. I was just like, you know what?
Take it. I'll take it. It's a beautiful goal.
Yeah. And then when the Payet left in under like pretty like I don't know the word like like not great circumstances,
Yeah.
like it was a whole spiel, and then that's when West Ham began to fall. So it's good to see them coming back up. I feel like they're a few pieces away from a top 4 finish, which maybe they'll make the Champions League. Well, they're in the Europa League now,
Yeah.
right?
Yep. Yeah, they made the Europa League.
Yeah, so I feel like that experience being in the Europa League will help them. I feel like it will give them that experience to be like, hey, what are the pieces that we need to get this to work? I feel like we'll be seeing more of West Ham in the top 5
Yeah.
sooner or later.
Yeah, for sure. There's a lot of future with West Ham. That's very exciting.
5th place finish was Leicester City. I had Chelsea 5th, and you had Liverpool 5th. This one
Disappointed.
This one I will say I am disappointed, but I'm also a part of me was expecting them to not finish 3rd.
Mhm.
Even if I predict them to finish 3rd, there was a point after we recorded, I think a few days after, where I kind of thought about it again. I was like, there is a chance that this doesn't happen.
happen. Yeah, I think, yeah, and as we described earlier of like Leicester, like again, they will be fine. I still have high hopes.
Yeah, they'll be fine.
I'm
They won
pretty
the
sure
FA
that this-
Cup, which is
yeah.
like, it's no small feat.
Yeah, it's still
Like,
a trophy.
It's not the
like
it's
a
not the
trophy.
Champions League, but bro, I mean, it took it wasn't easy. Like they went against Chelsea, and it took a freaking beautiful goal for them to get it, for them to win it, but it was only one goal, right?
Yeah, it was 1-0. I mean, a lot of these
And if it
finals are
wasn't
1-0, bro.
If it wasn't for an offside call, who knows what would have happened?
Yeah, I feel like Leicester, they need more like flavor in their team. I think they need a new signing. They need some mix up in their team.
I
They
feel
need
like-
something new, fresh. They need new young blood on the team.
I feel like what they need is another piece that's either similar to N'Golo Kante or similar to Riyad Mahrez. That you either need that really solid piece in your midfield, or you need that flashy like dribbling player that can bring the ball up and get the attention of the defenders,
Mm-hmm.
just to maybe take the pressure off of Vardy.
Yeah. Oh, it honestly kind of really surprises me that he's still there.
Yeah.
I mean, good on him for sticking out through and through, but like, wow.
yeah.
Kind kind of forget it at times. But yeah, agreed.
But
they need someone new. And I
I
hope
feel
they
like
will
yeah.
get over this. Over
I
this
feel like
summer.
my prediction for Chelsea, I mean, fair play. They overtook my prediction. Your prediction for Liverpool, good Lord Jesus, they overtook that prediction.
Oh wow.
Yeah,
We underestimated these teams apparently.
yeah. I just hope that they're. I mean, it's almost an impossibility at this point. But I just hope that next season there won't be as many injuries to one team.
Yeah,
Where
hopefully. My God.
yeah,
Liverpool got it so bad this year. Jesus.
and they still managed to pull something out of it.
Yeah, the
which,
fact that they
like,
still were
fair
able to
play.
like go third, you know what? Klopp knows what he's doing. Which
Yeah.
I mean, props to him. He is a pretty good manager, obviously. It took
Yeah.
him a while to sort of try and adapt to who he lost, but I'm glad towards the end of the season he was able to adapt well and know how to work out the kinks in his team, even without key players like Van Dijk.
I feel like that's the experience of a coach. That's Klopp's experience dealing with players being put to like its maximum capacity. That's the difference between someone like him and someone like Lampard. Like you know your player's abilities, yeah, but Klopp also knows that personal connection between player and coach is really important.
Mm-hmm. For sure.
Can I just point two things out
Yes.
before we finish on the Premier League topic? Arsenal won their last 5 games, and I'm just sitting here like, well, how did they do that?
I don't know. They sort of like picked up momentum for some reason. I don't know if it was for and giggles, being like, well, let's just try and end on a good thing.
We're not
because we
we're
can't
not
do
making
anything.
it to any European league. Let's just
Yeah.
win all our games now.
Yeah, I mean, I honestly have no idea where Arsenal is going in the future. I don't care. Sorry.
I
Don't
personally
care.
think they need to. I personally think they need to get like an actual coach. Like there's been a sudden like influx of these like player coaches in the leagues in the United Kingdom.
Hey,
Like,
Steven Gerrard
Steven,
is doing f***ing well, though.
yeah, he's doing great.
He's thriving up there in Scotland.
Yeah, he's thriving. But like
Lampard didn't really do
yeah.
well. Arteta was
Arteta like
probably should have stayed at City.
granted
honestly.
he won them the FA Cup last season. He did, right? Or is that the Carabao Cup? He won a trophy. I can't remember which.
I'm just raising my eyebrows.
I'm just trying to...
I live in England. I don't really care about Premier League football and specifics. Come
Okay,
at
the other
me,
thing I want to
England
point out,
bros.
which is making me kind of excited for their future, is that Leeds won the last 4 games of the season. Well, the last 4 of their 5 games. It just shows that, like, they really have like a genuine like chance of really making it back up there with like the likes of like City, United, Liverpool.
Yeah, for
and them
sure.
people.
We could definitely
Yeah.
see Leeds up there in the next 5 years, 100%. There's gonna be a new shift in like who the big
Yeah.
6 are of England.
Yeah, it'll be a while before they make it to the Champions League, but I'm sure they're gonna make it to the Champions League at some point.
Eventually, yeah, 100%.
Yeah. Speaking of the Champions League,
Oh.
the Champions League.
Sad girl hours for me.
Oh, you know what? Let me do something real quick for this section.
He's changing.
All right, let's do this.
Okay. We can start this. I'm gonna start this. The only reason why we did not make it through and we lost against fucking PSG is because Lewandowski was injured because of that stupid fucking Poland game that he didn't have to play during the international break, but he did for some reason, and was injured. That's the only reason why. We won the second leg, right? But then obviously because of away goals, they get to go through, which apparently they might take out away goals. I'm not too sure. It was a discussion with UEFA, among other things. But, yeah. Still salty, but you know what? I move on. There's always next year.
Well,
But
we'll get to that PSG Bayern game eventually. Let's talk about the first games. City versus Dortmund. We both predicted that City would win. I
yeah,
feel like,
again, Dortmund put up a good fight, but like it's City.
which
They
they
know.
really did. Like their youngsters, like
Oh,
they
Jadon
scored
Sancho,
those goals.
Haaland ended up
Yeah.
being top goal scorer of the Champions League in general as well. Props to him. Great feat.
I feel like youngsters versus the City powerhouse.
Yeah,
I feel like
it wasn't enough.
I mean,
but
Dort-
good effort though.
if they-
good effort.
yeah, if they keep their core of maybe like Sancho, Haaland, maybe Marco Reus, and that new one, Jude, I think his name is.
Oh, Bellingham, right? Plays for England.
Yeah, Jude Bellingham. I wouldn't be surprised if they make it to the finals.
Soon
eventually
again? Yeah, probably.
I feel like the thing that they need to fix is their defense and maybe their goalkeeper.
Yeah. I mean,
Yeah.
yeah, agreed. I mean, hey,
Yeah.
that's
But there was a moment in time when we were kind of we didn't watch the game because we watched the Madrid Liverpool game. But there was
Yeah,
a moment in
the
time.
Madrid Liverpool match. Shout out to our friend Michael. Sorry.
But there was a moment in time where we
Sorry, Michael.
we saw the score line and we were like, oh
Yeah, we were like, oh,
yeah.
possibility, but yeah, no, we had priorities, which was the Madrid Liverpool match because I was for some reason low key bricks at that game because again
Yeah.
Madrid has been wishy washy this entire season, so I did not. I mean, I obviously had confidence we could win against Liverpool, but also was like could have expected us being thrashed, but we didn't.
Yeah.
We thrashed them,
Yeah.
so yay me. At least
Next
I kind
game.
of won that.
Next game, Chelsea Porto.
Oh,
We
I mean-
both predicted that Chelsea would win.
I know we joked in the last episode that for all we could know, Porto could win the whole thing. They didn't. Expected. But, I mean, it wasn't that exciting though. Like, Chelsea didn't score that many goals, did they?
They didn't. No, they didn't.
Yeah, it was very like... So yeah, to me it was sort of like an even fight with Chelsea advantage, but like it wasn't that like
Yeah.
clear
we
winner.
both said it was gonna be. We both said in the last episode it was gonna be a very close game, just
Mhm.
because we didn't really understand like Chelsea's abilities, and Porto is like
Secret
like,
powerhouse
I-
sometimes. Secret dark horse
Yeah, yeah.
sometimes.
if they have the pieces and if they have the motivation, they can win a Champions League a la 2004, was it?
Think so.
Yeah, but yeah, it comes time to time. It's not. It comes very unexpectedly.
Mhm.
But then when you see the other teams that they could have gone against, you kind of face the reality of what like might be. Liverpool Madrid game, we both predicted Madrid would win, but you were very, very,
Yes.
very skeptical about
Yes,
this.
as I said a bit earlier, was skeptical, was bricks, but we thrashed them. Is all good. Sorry to our friend Michael, who's a Liverpool fan.
Because we watched the first leg
Mm-hmm.
together. Oh wait, no, it wasn't that game. No, we watched. We also watched. I'm going off topic here for a bit. We watched the El Clasico game together as well, where they were playing at Madrid. And remember that time when it was like raining so hard? And we all
Oh right.
like Messi was like literally shivering. I was
Messi
just like,
shivering.
give that guy a jacket. Oh my
Oh
lord.
my god. Yeah. I mean, like I couldn't even see the ball anymore because it was just like rain.
It was a mix of the fact it was raining so hard and the stream quality I was giving you was probably like really bad.
Yeah. It was just because like Sergio Ramos has been like injured for like a very long time. It feels like now, and like I don't know. Again, Madrid wishy-washy. I don't know what they want. So, but I'll take the win. I took the win.
I feel
happily
like
took the
yeah.
win.
I watched the game. I think after the first goal, I was a little comfortable in like saying, yeah, Madrid kind of had this even on the second leg. I think after the second goal, I was like for sure saying like, yeah, I feel like they got
yeah.
this.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Easy.
The second
as.
leg, I think Liverpool won the second leg, but because of away goals, Madrid won the whole thing.
Yeah.
Right.
Yes, I think. Yeah.
Yeah. which like fair play on them. Like,
I'll take it.
I mean, like they were balanced for reason. The two teams were balanced for reasons they shouldn't be balanced for, but created some pretty exciting football
Yeah.
and way too much anxiety for you.
Super. My God.
Yeah.
Super.
Now,
Not as much as anxiety as this game.
PSG Bayern. You
Telling you.
predicted that Bayern would win. I predicted that PSG would win.
Yeah, because this is before Lewandowski was out injured.
Okay, I will give you that. Yes, Lewandowski was injured. I will happily admit that it does play a big role in the fact that
And we played
Bayern
shite the
didn't.
first game. The second game we were fine. First game we won the second game, I think.
Yeah, but
But again,
we
away
won the-
goals. This away
Yeah.
goal rule is ruining, but also saving my life apparently. Pain.
But I said that PSG would come out in the first game with literally like a chip on their shoulder because they lost the final, and that's what they did. Yes, Bayern managed to figure them out in the second leg, but
But not enough. Not
more
enough,
often-
my dude.
more
Not
more
enough.
often than not, if you figure it out by the second leg, you've already like put the nail in the coffin.
And sometimes second.
Yeah,
legs
I
can
mean
do wonders
sometimes
in
there's a
dreams.
miracle.
Shout out Liverpool.
Yeah, like sometimes there's a miracle that can happen, like a la Barca PSG that one time like remember
Oh my
that?
God! Yeah.
That was
Oh my
that was a
Jesus
fever
Christ, that
dream.
was-
Neymar went batshit crazy that game. I can't remember. Neymar was available for the games against Bayern, right?
He was available for the second one. Not sure about the first. I don't remember if he was for the first.
I feel like there was just I couldn't see Bayern making it past PSG at that point. I think after the first game I kind of realized it's really going to be PSG. Even though I said in the last episode I kind of wanted Bayern to go through. I didn't have any reason why. I just kind of wanted to see if they can repeat. Cuz they had all the pieces that they needed to repeat anyway.
Mostly. Defense is a bit shaky.
Yeah,
Our
but
defense is a bit
I mean,
shaky. Even
it's
more
still
so now.
it's still
that
Bayern.
Boateng and Alaba are leaving.
Oh.
Well, we move.
So
Semi-final.
the games that we ended up getting in the semifinals were City PSG and Chelsea Madrid. You predicted a City Bayern.
I still want a City
game.
Bayern though in the Champions League.
Yeah.
I just want Pep to go against Bayern. Like, man, I want to see that. I still want to see that.
Yeah. You predicted a City Bayern team game which Bayern would win. Didn't happen, so your prediction kind of faltered.
Yeah, hello, we established already. But like, I think before the match, City PSG, I think we talk about it. Obviously, I think I said I was expecting City to win. No, actually, I think I said I was expecting PSG to win because I thought they were a stronger team than City.
Well, my prediction was that City would beat PSG in the game, which they did. If you think about it, PSG is basically like Dortmund, just with more like strength and firepower in their players. They're young, they have young players that are on their way up or already like at the top, accompanied by some veteran players and maybe like a decent to slightly shaky defense. That's what Dortmund and PSG essentially
How
are.
many young people are in fucking PSG?
Mbappe, and that's all I know.
Yeah, see, exactly. I was just like, all I can think of is Mbappe. But even then, he's like turning 22 or something. Which is not old, by the way. But
Yeah,
like,
but even then, it's just like I'm beginning to see it in the way that PSG are kind of playing. That they're beginning to rely on Mbappe a lot, just because he's that good.
They didn't win Ligue 1 this year. So.
They didn't, which I feel like it was a direct result of them beginning to rely on Mbappe at such an early age. Yeah, but I predicted City would win. City did. I just feel like City's
They had drive to go to
there's-
the final. They actually had drive to go to the final more than PSG. It was
Yeah,
an oil
and they-
versus oil semifinal, as a lot of people like to call it. But like City
Yeah.
had more drive, and I think that's what
But
drove them more. To be honest,
yeah, and also they had the pieces, not necessarily the pieces, but that team is so close knit because it's the Pep team, and you know the pieces haven't really changed. That it kind of made sense for them to really be able to advance to the final. And then we have the Chelsea Madrid game, which you predicted Chelsea to win, and I predicted Madrid to win. And this is where I got the first thing wrong,
and this weirdly I got right as a Madrid fan.
which I'm
I'm shocked
very
myself.
surprised.
But that's because I also had a feeling. I was just like, I think we can go past Liverpool, but Chelsea I think will be more of a challenge because they have a fresher, younger team. And then I guess also with Tuchel, he knows again what he's doing. Obviously, in my heart, I wanted to be wrong, but I just sort of had an inkling that Chelsea was going to do something, and they did.
Because I said in the last episode that if Sergio Ramos played, then I feel like Madrid's defense would have been much stronger. But he didn't, if I'm not mistaken,
Yeah,
right?
no, he didn't play any of our Champions League games towards the end.
Yeah, so I think the moment that I saw that Ramos wasn't going to play those games, that's when I started to be like, okay, I think my prediction's kind of in the bin. Like while Chelsea is a young team, they have Conte as like a pretty good like mid like I would argue he's
bro.
I would argue he's the best midfielder in the world right now. I would argue that he's that good.
Yeah, no.
And then you have Thiago Silva in the defense, holding
Who has
the defense
experience
together with
and
his
also
experience.
works
Yeah.
well with Tuchel as with PSG.
Yeah. And then you have the surprisingly very good bunch of Haver, Werner, Pulisic. There's one more. I feel like I'm forgetting.
Werner.
Mason Mount?
Yes, Mason Mount.
Yeah, Mason Mount. I feel like I underestimated them quite a bit in the.
I
in
think
this
though, just
game.
because like at the beginning of the season, right? Because Werner and Havertz cost Chelsea a lot of money, and they weren't showing up at the beginning of the season. They were kind of being flops. So we were like, okay, great. They're just not gonna, Chelsea's not. And then it was towards the end of the season, they sort of got the momentum of scoring goals and doing what they were supposed to do. Why Chelsea bought them in the first place, to do well and score goals, and that's what they did.
So the last game was a City-Chelsea final. You predicted a Bayern-Chelsea final that Bayern would win. Unfortunately, you were not going to get your vindication for 2012 yet.
Yeah. But I got the Chelsea side right, at least.
Yeah. I predicted a City-Madrid final, which I thought City would win. Madrid did not go through, so we have a City-Chelsea final. I still predicted City would win. And by all expectations in the world, did I freaking get surprised by this final.
I mean, it was boring. I didn't even watch it, but it was boring.
It was very boring, but I was so surprised. I told you this like a few days. Yeah, I told you this a few days ago, right? Like I was still on my old setup, like just off to the side, and I was watching the game on one screen, and I moved to the other side, and I was
the missed the goal. He missed the goal.
Yeah, I was.
He's that bored. He was playing FIFA and missed the goal.
No, I was.
Wait, what were you playing?
The game was playing in my ears, and I was looking at the Valorant logo, saying,
okay.
"Should I play it?" And then, as I was about to click it, I heard the crowd like pipe up, and then just as I look, the ball had just gone into the net, and I was just like, "I missed the only goal in the game."
Fam. This boy. I didn't watch because I was busy doing house stuff.
Yeah.
But I told him to message me if anything happened. Even I knew, but like I would scroll on Twitter every once in a while. Even I knew that Chelsea had scored a goal and he didn't, and he was watching the game on a live stream. I was like, Jesus Christ, bro. Please.
Yeah.
It's weird because City and Chelsea go against each other quite often because obviously they play in the same league, they play in the same country, they have a lot of opportunities to play each other. So technically they should know each other in and out. But I feel like to be fair, City had it against them from the get-go because Pep's starting lineup was a bit sketch.
Yeah,
Not
the
gonna
start.
lie.
That's what I want to get to. The starting lineup for Pep was very. I was kind of confused because. Yeah. Let me pull it
We
up
had a
real quick.
conversation about this on like our Discord chat typing, and I was like, "Save this for the podcast. We need it now." This is where the discourse comes in, because City for some Pep, didn't feel like Pep was giving his best squad for the Champions League final. I was like, Chelsea in and out, and this is a Champions League final. You would think
Oh yeah,
you'd be
here
better
okay.
prepared.
So it was so strange because he started Sterling and Mahrez at striker, so he had no real striker on the starting lineup, which flabbergasted the hell out of me.
Shout out
Bernardo
Jesus.
Silva, Gundogan, and Phil Foden in midfield. Not really a surprise, but it was that he had no real wingers. He had no real strikers on the pitch. I was just like, huh?
Yeah, wasn't there one player that we didn't know who he was in defense? And I was like, what the is this?
Zinchenko.
I was like, I've heard of him, right? But like, I was like, I haven't heard of him enough that he's been like playing in the starting lineup for City as often. So I was like, the is Pep playing at for this final, bro? Like the
I really didn't know what his tactics were. Like I understood that you get 5 subs in the final in the Champions League. So I didn't know if he was trying to tire out Chelsea before putting in like
De Bruyne and stuff.
Aguero. No, De Bruyne was starting.
Oh no! He was taken off because of injury. Right, sorry.
Yeah, and then like I was thinking like he was gonna bring on someone like Aguero and
Yeah, especially because that was his
the-
last match for City ever.
yeah
Before he left.
Oh, and who is that? Who is that other? Who
Yeah,
is subs? Where are they?
They have a good player who was on their bench. as well.
Gabriel Jesus.
Yeah, Gabriel Jesus.
Jesus.
Yeah. I
Yeah,
was like, why didn't he start? He should have started.
yeah. I was
Started.
like, yeah, he should have started. Like I would say, take out Bernardo Silva, start Gabriel Jesus at striker, and then just played like a 4-3-3 attack,
Yeah, exactly.
and then maybe have like Fernandinho somewhere. I don't know if he would have fit anywhere, but it just confused me. And obviously, City got unlucky with the injury on De Bruyne. That's your core playmaker, like gone for most
Yeah.
of the game. So, like City were already at a specific disadvantage at that point, which you can't really put that on them. That's a
that
game
was just
thing.
by luck.
It's part of the game.
That was just by chance that he was.
I'm looking at Chelsea's lineup now, and it's actually surprising me as well because they started with 5 at the back,
Mm-hmm.
and I did not know that. They looked like they were playing. Oh, that makes more sense. They were playing a 5 at the back, but they used their wing backs as wingers as well. That makes sense to me. So that they can have their main attackers, Mount, Haver, and Werner, who were all striker. I think are all strikers.
Lakers.
Just go up in the center
Get there.
and just punch through. It makes sense to me now.
Yeah.
But yeah, so Chelsea won, which
Honestly, I feel like deserved with how they played, and also just with how the Tuchel was able to plan this. I was wanting Chelsea to win, to be honest. So.
yeah. But yeah, like you said, it was a very boring final.
Yeah.
The only reason I watched it to the end was to see if there was anything else that would happen. Nothing happened.
Yeah, there was like a super last minute chance I think from Aguero, but then like he was wide as with it. And
Yeah.
then the final whistle blew, and it was like bye bye. But yeah.
And I think like no, and then Mahrez had one chance that was really close, but I think he just put it over.
Over. Yeah. I saw that too.
Yeah.
And I was
Yeah.
like, damn. That stuff.
So
But haha.
my prediction failed there as well. But I mean, congratulations to Chelsea.
Yeah.
You defied
Well
quite
deserved, to
big
be honest.
expectations. The Porto game was not really a surprise. The Madrid game was a surprise to some. But this final was a surprise to a lot of people.
Yeah, I know a lot of people on paper you would think City would win, but then again, I did think Chelsea were the stronger team, especially with the lineups that each coach had picked out. Because I have, again, no idea what the Pep was on about with that lineup.
Yeah.
Didn't work in the end, so.
Yeah. But hey, that's the exciting thing about the Champions League. It creates these moments for us.
Mm-hmm.
I wouldn't expect something like the European Super League to do this for us. You know what I mean?
I mean, to be fair, both City and Chelsea were originally in the Super League, so.
Yeah.
So.
I'm just saying. We're going pretty long right now, but I feel like it is something that we kind of have to touch on for at least a bit.
Yeah, the Super League gives me a headache. It gave us all headaches. I couldn't sleep at night because of this thing. Because so this fucking Super League bullshit is because of my I will take responsibility for this. My club president, Florentino Perez, making a different league, right? Where all the top clubs can play as if the Champions League didn't already exist, right? And then you pick who gets to go in and all this bullshit, right? And there's benefits, huge payout, blah, 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 blah. Pain, right? Pain. Withdrawing and basically creating an unequal fair chance for all actual clubs who are actually playing well in the leagues, because you had a team like Arsenal, who hasn't been in the top 6 for a while, joining the Super League.
Yeah.
Even though but just because of prestige and money, right? Not because of their actual how they're doing in their respective league, right? Not based on their actual merit, just based off of namesake, history, and prestige, and if you have coin, which Arsenal do. So because, created that league.
Yeah, the thing that really made me realize it was about money was, number one, Real Madrid were at the core of all this happening.
I mean, to be fair, if it was City, it would be even worse.
Granted. But number two, they said it was going to be for the best teams at the time to be there. But West Ham and Leicester were not part of any of these talks. It went straight to Arsenal and Tottenham, who were literally just in the top 10.
Yeah.
And were not doing their best at the time. So it was really a money thing. I don't understand why they would have wanted to separate themselves from the Champions League, because what they're doing is essentially what the Champions League could be doing. The Champions League is changing their format now.
There's a third. There's the incoming next season. There's going to be a third European league below the Europa League, which Spurs made the cut for.
Yeah, but it's not even that. The UEFA Champions League itself is changing.
Oh yeah,
they're adding more teams.
They're adding more teams,
and then it's going to be an actual league thing that can happen. That it's not going to be essentially the same thing that it currently is. I just don't get why the clubs that went into the ESL thought, why don't we start our own thing where we're always qualified in it just because we have the money to do it.
Yeah, no, exactly.
Because it doesn't fall onto merit. Arsenal can maybe probably get relegated from the Premier League and go into the lower league, and they'll still be in the ESL. That does not make sense.
Yeah, exactly. And I know that to be fair, every year, but then and it's the same merit of you play already against each other in the Champions League. What makes a difference even more if you make another league of the same thing, but even make the pot smaller? Okay, sure, you have a better chance to win, but with Point.
Yeah, it's maybe the top 4 in the Premier League doesn't change often, and the top 3 in La Liga is
never changes.
The same 3 teams. Yeah, but it's you never know. They're we didn't manage to really touch on Barcelona and Barcelona in this episode, but it's Barcelona have been so shaky recently, and Messi could be on his way out. If that causes a thing and they cause to collapse, if the, not being in the Super League, that gives another chance for another Spanish team to get an experience in the Champions League. But with the Super League, you don't get that because Barcelona could still be in it just because they're a founding member. Which it's that whole founding member idea, the 12 founding teams, the top 6, and then the 3 teams from Spain and the 3 teams from Italy. That it's so it disappointed me.
Yeah, no,
You're
it was so heartbreaking to see. Like, honestly, I was like, I feel like I had like a, at one point, I'll admit, I had like a crying fit at one point because it stressed me out so much. Because I was like, the is going on? The sport isn't the same. What is this? Like, look, by all means, UEFA as a corporation and FIFA as a corporation are fucked up as well. By all means.
Oh yeah,
right?
no, for like, sure. Like yeah.
Please, like, this is not us just like praising them, but I just wish that the money that went into creating, and the money and the effort and the organization in creating a different league because of how upset they were about UEFA, they could have just brought that energy in fixing UEFA instead, and fixing FIFA, and like making it better. Like, I wish that was what they poured their energy into instead of just like making their own thing, but then also kind of making it worse.
Yeah. I feel like there are some things behind the scenes that we don't know about. Like, I feel like I don't want to give them the benefit of the doubt, and I'm not gonna give them the benefit of the doubt. But it's just like, yeah, UEFA and FIFA are, you know, they're not necessarily in God's graces, essentially, you know. But like efforts to put the money and resources into fixing UEFA and FIFA. I mean, like, yeah, they could, but maybe they tried and UEFA refused, and then this is retaliation, which is not good retaliation. Like you don't try to circumvent corruption by creating your own corruption. That's not how.
Doesn't work.
That's not how it works,
sweetheart. There probably is a ton of other things we don't know, and that we still don't know as well. You know, by all means, take us out. Take the big clubs out of the top leagues. Remove them of trophies. At this point, I don't know what's going on at this point. There's still talks that it could still happen. It legally, I think, is still like documented as like an actual business or whatever. I don't know. Frankly, I don't care. As long as it doesn't exist anymore, that's all.
I was thinking about this to myself, like they wanted so much about, they were saying so much about it being changed, but by the time they announced the Super League, UEFA had already announced the changes to the Champions League, if I'm not mistaken. So it's just like everything that they said, and like Florentino Perez said in that initial like media presser that he did, I was just like, excuse me, sir, you are like full of shit.
It's bullshit. It is.
But then that also just kind of puts into perspective the whole other side of football that we don't necessarily want to talk about, which I mean, I have to talk about. I'm a business major, so
yeah,
it's eventually going to come up if
we could do a whole other episode on the business side of football and all that. If anybody wants us to talk about it, because it's a whole different conversation that has a large effect on the sport, as we see here with the ESL.
But I think one of the conclusions that we can come up from it is like the owners' power, like these people who own the clubs, their power. It's so exploitable that we saw what happens when they try to exploit it, and it's not a pretty look. So it's time for the fans, the player, if everyone who's involved in football to a certain capacity to think, what should the power of the owners be? And Germany's already doing that with the 51-49
rule. Yeah, exactly. I think more leagues should take on that rule. I think it's an excellent rule to have.
I feel like it
fans still be
should.
majority
I feel like it
owner.
should be a FIFA UEFA standard
Mm-hmm. I agree.
for you to be, and it should also be local FA standards. Like, yes, there should be a certain say from these like owners.
Yeah, of course,
Like,
they
these
invest
actual
in the
owners
club,
being like,
but they
Yeah,
cannot
but
be
then
the only
I-
people to have a
Yeah.
say on these big decisions. You need to consult more people in these. Like that's the thing that like upsetted me. Like all of these, like because obviously like football did not stop when the ESL happened. Games were still happening, and all these coaches were like bombarded with questions of like, so what do you think about? They don't care about what the football's going on, right? They have a job to do, which is to win a trophy or to get enough points. But all of the questions they have are to the ESL. And they're just like, we weren't asked to do this. I was asked no. I have no opinion on this because I was not asked about it. It annoys me. But also, I can't do my job properly now because it's all that is being talked about.
yeah, and the absolute. I mean, like the fan reaction. We saw the fan reaction, especially from the Chelsea fans when they blocked the team bus, and Petr Cech had to go to the fans and just be like, "Hey, let us through. You let us through. We are going to talk about this, right?"
Yeah.
And literally, like a few hours later, like Chelsea pulled
They
out,
pulled
and everyone
out.
thought that what's his face, Petr Cech was an absolute hero.
I mean, he is for doing that, though. I mean,
Yeah.
there's only so much all those players, though, unfortunately, can do in a situation like this where they honestly have no say at that point. Even though they are the ones who will end up playing in these conditions, they have no say. No say.
But
Which is-
I feel like that's another thing that should change. Like the 51-49 rule is a thing that we see work pretty well in Germany. But I feel like this is my like proposal where you kind of split it into thirds with the fans still being the majority thing and the owners maybe being I'll see what I want to say about
Marcus,
the
hold on.
owners.
49-51 is about ownership of the club.
Yeah. I
right?
know.
Players
Yeah.
cannot own the club unless like they're like a legend and want to invest that much in the club.
No, but I know that part, but I feel like
There's a
the
decision-making.
the players need to have a say in these. Like you can't just be like, okay, ownership is going to make the choices, regardless if it's just ownership or ownership and fans. And then you
Yeah.
just tell the players like, oh yeah, we're gonna do this thing. It's like they're the ones that are putting themselves on the field.
Yeah,
Right?
they're the ones
You could
repping
the thing
this
that you
club.
could the thing that you could do is call a player coach owner meeting and just be like, hey, we have plans for this, what do you think, right?
Yeah,
And if enough players say like, hey, we don't like this, we don't think it's a good idea,
yeah. Then
this could
don't pull
affect
through.
us in a certain don't pull through. If there is an agreement that comes through that we could do this, but there's some things that we have to be looking out for. It's just about communication. The
Mhm.
big problem I have with the current ownership in football in general is there's no communication to the players.
Oh yeah, no, 100%. A lot of these owners are like very much like silent owners of like they really like look at the club as like a pure business deal. And
Yeah,
have
which
no
is what I
interest of who works in it. No, there are
Yeah.
some owners who like have representatives and like actually care about the club and will go to matches and actually
Leicester,
there.
Leicester's owner, I love that guy. He's so you can tell he really cares about,
Cares about
the team.
the club. Yeah.
But you look at someone like the Glazers, who, Jesus Christ, you're like,
Huh.
the least you could do was know what the offside rule is. Did you hear about this? Like
No.
Joel Glazer said something about like, oh, I don't know what the offside rule is, and I still don't get why it's in the game. This is the owner of the biggest club in England.
Jesus Christ. My God. See, this is... like, I get it's a business, as with everything. There's a lot of discussion that we have of, like, industries of, like, where it's a business, but it isn't viewed as one. But, like, it's one of those things of, like, you really need people who care. You really need people who actually care about what they're buying into and investing in, or else it won't work. And this is what happens.
Yeah.
They do care, but like just don't have right vision, aka Florentino
Yeah.
Perez. He cares about Madrid, but he just doesn't have right vision.
Yeah. I mean, like the future of football, in a certain sense, is very bright because we have up and coming players who are pushing the game forward and inspiring the younger generation to continue to push that forward. But it's also very in doubt because the business side of football
Yeah.
is becoming a looming shadow over
Yeah.
the entire game of football.
It's interesting. It really is how
Yeah.
the future is gonna look like, how ownership goes, and how things changing and influences from other things. Like I hope that like obviously the sport will evolve into something, and there's gonna be some things we don't like, but hopefully there still will be a lot more that we do like in terms of the pros, and there will be more pros and cons with the further evolving nature of football. But who knows? Who knows at this point?
I mean, the best thing to do is just to see what the future holds.
Yeah, I mean, we'll still be
s-
here. We still have teams to support. We still have teams that,
Yeah,
despite everything, we love, and we will support through thick and thin. And
there
we
are
will
still
be
more.
here to
Yeah,
talk about it and to rant about it
Yeah.
for more episodes to come.
yeah. There are more
Woo!
seasons to predict, more teams to talk about,
We'll be
more
back.
players to troll. We're not gonna be gone after one season.
We'll be
we'll-
back in August to put more
Yeah.
predictions and other things, and
Yeah.
anything happened in the Euros that is possibly exciting, and transfers and all that. But we thank you for joining us in another episode of Mischa and Marcus screaming about football for about an hour. We apologize for the mess, but we try here on the Saberbs. Thank you so much.
Yeah.
Like, comment, and subscribe, do all that jazz. And we'll see you next time. Goodbye.
All right. Adios.